That lawnmower. That's it. Start that. Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know.
And made a post and basically told Roach. He tagged Lamar Roach and he said, "Look, you're not getting that fight with Tank."
A day in the life of Gervonta Davis, as he sharpens for Jake Paul, is nothing but focus and relentless grind. Each session flows with sharpness, power, and speed. From grueling conditioning to fierce sparring, he stays locked in and unshaken by distraction. Every drop of sweat tells the story of a man determined to meet the challenge head-on. Rolly Romero's words add a different lens to the looming clash. He reminds us that Tank's legacy is untouchable, no matter the result. Already a champion, already proven, Davis has nothing left to prove in Jake Paul. Still, Romero admits Jake's natural size can't be ignored. Bigger by nature, Paul carries that physical edge, but it never overshadows the accolades Tank has carved, nor the respect his name already commands. Paulie Malignaggi draws a sharp line between experience and size. Jake Paul may have built fame and muscle, but Malignaggi insists that in boxing, experience eclipses raw strength. Gervonta Davis has walked under the brightest lights, carried main events, and tested himself against the very best. No matter how imposing Jake Paul looks, he cannot rival the years of discipline, the ring IQ, and the adaptability Tank commands. Malignaggi's view leans on a timeless truth in boxing. When the gloves touch, it's skill and experience that usually triumph over size.
Paul might be too big for him, but like Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or as an exhibition, we don't know if they throw at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
You know, some people trying to give, that's fair, some people trying to give Tank a hard time. They're saying he should have took a fight with Lamar Roach or Shakur Stevenson. But when you think about it, do you think this is business and look, he's getting a bag, or is there some validity to people saying that he ducked Roach?
I mean, there's still other options, you know? It's bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or all that stuff, right?
Mind you, Teofimo Lopez paints the fight more a spectacle than sport. To him, it isn't about legacy or rankings, but pure entertainment and the financial payoff. He sees clearly that both Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis are set to earn enormous sums, and that reality can't be ignored. While the matchup may not carry the weight of a world title clash, Lopez insists it still brings value to boxing by pulling in mainstream attention. Even a fight that feels like exhibition can spark new fans and push the sport further.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you, you can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight, can drop a heavyweight. There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you, you're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
Nate Diaz, famous for his no-filter honesty, brushes off the matchup without hesitation. To him, this fight carries no real competitive value. He argues that regardless of who gets their hand raised, the result adds nothing meaningful to either man's career. Diaz frames it as nothing more than a spectacle built for entertainment, closer to pro wrestling than pure boxing. His take slices through all the hype, casting the whole thing as a sideshow instead of a true sporting contest.
Really invested on it, and I'm actually very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction, a show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
The competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know. But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens.
Jeff Mayweather mirrors Nate Diaz's skepticism, carrying the same air of doubt. He sees the matchup as unusual, questioning what truly drives it forward. To him, pairing a proven champion like Tank against a YouTube star-turned-boxer feels almost illogical. Though he admits the business side of boxing often shapes these decisions, Mayweather still views the fight as strange, even unnecessary. His words echo the same confusion many longtime boxing fans feel whenever crossover events take center stage.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna do.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
It just. I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm
it's
not
a good
hating
fight?
on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch and see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing is turning into WWE.
Yeah, that's,
with that type of matchup. Do you agree? Last thing, White House card, like you said, you want Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
right.
It's like, at least that's happening and it's getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight actually.
BJ Flores, who has guided Jake Paul's rise, takes a far more optimistic view. He believes Jake's future belongs with cruiserweights and heavyweights, divisions where his natural size feels right at home. Still, Flores admits that facing Tank Davis changes everything. Stepping into the ring with a champion lifts Jake's profile higher than ever. That spotlight, he says, will spark new chances against bigger names in bigger divisions. To Flores, the Tank Davis fight isn't the destination. It's simply a stepping stone on Jake's unfolding boxing journey.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank, and I mean, but with it being exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting. But I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
Respected journalist Gareth A. Davies has not softened his stance, blasting the upcoming fight as nothing more than a circus, spectacle taking priority over substance. He insists that while the event may grab headlines and pull in casual fans, it erodes the credibility of boxing as a true sport. To Davies, the clear mismatch in weight and natural divisions strips away fair competition, replacing it with entertainment designed purely for financial reward. His critique points to a larger issue, that boxing is sliding further into a world where showmanship overshadows athletic merit. He warns that if this path continues, the sport's integrity may be scarred forever, driving purists and longtime fans away. Yet even as Davies disapproves, he concedes that fights like this create massive buzz, proving that controversy remains boxing's most reliable promotional engine.
I knew AJ and Jake was never going to happen.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually going to happen? Bro, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like so many people just believe everything online.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know, well, okay, how do I say it like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, one. Like, I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be him and Wilder. I think that'd be a very good fight.
Vargas Jr. brings a different angle, zeroing in on the thrill of surprise. For him, the unpredictability of this fight is what fuels the intrigue. He admits no one really saw this matchup coming, and that alone sparks excitement. Fans, he says, crave the unexpected, and this showdown delivers exactly that. Whether people see it as a positive or a negative, Vargas Jr. believes the shock factor makes it impossible to ignore.
That's a funny story. So one of my good friends, Armani, he has been working with Jake Paul for the last 2 years. There was a little time where Shane wasn't there with Jake, and Armani called me up and said, hey, BJ, will you come down to Big Bear and spar with Jake? And I'm like, you want me to spar with Jake? I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's beating up all his sparring partners. I was like, all right, I mean, fine, I'll go down there and do it. I have been inactive. I haven't done anything for like 8 months, but I was like, okay, I'll go down there. So we spar a couple times. After that, they decided I was too big for him. And, it's better if we just, not do it. And, then they asked me if I would be interested in like working the mitts with them and helping him with the combinations, because I was hitting him with some combinations they hadn't seen before. And I said, we can teach him all those things and have him doing all those things. And so I started working the mitts with him and helping him out on the mitts. And he told his trainers and everybody, they're like, man, I want BJ around for the entire camp, because I'm getting better. My job is like Shane does the advice in the corner and I do the mitts.
Wade Plum argues that Jake Paul has injected fresh energy into boxing by drawing in crowds who might never have cared about the sport. He notes Jake's impact is strongest with younger viewers, the ones drawn to spectacle over traditional matchups. While purists call these fights gimmicks, Wade sees them as part of boxing's evolution. In his eyes, this showdown with Gervonta Davis keeps that momentum alive, pulling in mainstream attention even if it sparks controversy. He believes growing the sport's popularity and cultural reach matters more than old-school notions of authenticity. Several analysts say the upcoming fight is less about skill and more about business, pointing out that Jake benefits most from sharing the ring with world champion Gervonta Davis.
I think we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire, because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week. £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight as opposed to a disgrace of a fight, which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that... do I mean Charlie Brooker? No,
Baker.
Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, and it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks, those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that fight?
I don't want
For Paul, the bout delivers massive exposure, credibility, and financial gain. Whether he wins or loses, analysts describe it as a calculated move to grow his brand, pull in a wider fan base, and secure high-value opportunities in the boxing world. The ripple effect reaches other fighters like Lamont. Analysts point out that with Tank tied up against Jake Paul, a rematch with Lamont is temporarily off the table. Still, Lamont isn't left without options. The boxing landscape is vast, and he has alternative fights to develop his career. This shows how a crossover spectacle like Jake versus Tank reshuffles the usual boxing calendar, creating both hurdles and fresh openings for other fighters.
You know, the way we dress, or this generation, as far as like fighters, they relate to more who's more popular. You know, that's why we're seeing the Jake Paul versus Gervonta fight, which is, bro, that's crazy to me because we would never see that, and back in my dad's day, but now we're getting this, and it's just like, fuck it. I mean, people are gonna see it, bro. So it is what it is. But whether people know him more or not, or me, it doesn't matter. I know that he's coming, and he's coming game, and he wants to make a statement as well. So we're just coming to interrupt those plans. This is boxing, and I'm so excited to demonstrate my skills. I could box, I could counterpunch, I could bang when I want to, and I'm gonna demonstrate that. I'm gonna do what I want to do in there. Come September 13th.
Yeah, we spoke about this a little bit earlier. But it's a 10-round fight. Could be a different pace of a fight. But what do you think is like the key for you to get this win, regardless if it's a knockout or if it goes all 10 rounds?
I think just be smart. Be in there, be smart, be first, and do what I do. I think if I try to do a little too much, like my dad says, when you try doing too much, it looks you're trying too hard. So only thing I gotta do is just come in the best shape possible. If it goes 10 rounds, then it goes 10 rounds. We're doing 12 rounds of sparring, so if it needs to go to 10 rounds, we'll have the gas tank to go. I don't know if he's gone a full 10 rounds. I haven't, so it'll be something for fight day. If we do end up going the distance, then we end up going the distance.
And that's a wrap for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more, because the stories aren't slowing down. Until next time.